All right, chapter 7.1. This is the second to last chapter, main chapter that we have to deal with. The first chapter, of course, was distributive property and order of operations. I think that's probably the toughest chapter of the quarter. Chapter 6 should have been something that was within your reach, but again, just make sure that you are definitely getting the meat of the material in chapter 6 and 7. If you can make sure that you get the most out of 6 and 7, which again are the two things that should make the most sense, then you actually put yourself in a very good spot to pass this class. But again, you need to make sure you're doing it on time, or make sure that you are at least getting the most out of it. Our last chapter again focused on solving one-step equations. Hopefully you took the time to make each decision instinctual to where you can see it and just react. If not, you can still make it through this chapter, but the key focus should not be on how do I move the value anymore. It should be deciding which one to move first. So before we look at solving, let's do our skills review real quick. We're not going to cover fractions anymore in notes. We've been doing that for almost a quarter now, or actually a quarter and a half now. And so we need to just go ahead and let that go. If you need help with that, just let me know. But other than that, we are going to again look at our multiplication, 78 times 41. I believe this is the last week that we are going to do this level of multiplication, which I called phase 2. Because in this one you actually don't carry on the first one, but you do carry on the second one. I think starting next week you'll be carrying on the first and the second one, so we'll kind of move that up. But anyway, 1 times 8 being 8, 1 times 7 being 7. Bring down your 0. 4 times 8 is 32, so bring up the 3. 4 times 7, 28, plus 3 makes 31. You then add those things up. 8 and 0 make 8, 7 and 2 make 9, 1, 3, and again, that's the process that we do. It's very important, again, if you're having issues with any of this stuff, that you make sure to speak up and let somebody help you. Black 9, white 12. Again, this is probably I don't know how long we're going to be covering these, but again, this is something that we should kind of know. Actually, I think this steps up next week too. Black 9, white 12. We know that whenever they're different, we need to find out who won by how much. So white won, and it looks to me like they won by 3 because 12 minus 9 is 3. Black 4, black 10. I'm pretty sure in this case we say how much did black score altogether, and in this case black scored 14 altogether, so that should be your answer on that. So again, that is the math skills portion that we're getting to. But we are actually going to look at solving fractions again, just to make sure you've got it. And so I'm just going to talk through this really quickly. In 5/7 h equals 20, there's actually two values attached to the variable. There's a 5 and a 7. In our work today, we're going to always move the bottom value, so make sure you make a note of that, because that's the number we're going to look at first. Consider what the 7 looks like in this problem as it's under a division line. So whenever the number's under a division line, we react the same way. So in this problem, we instinctually knew to multiply by 6 because it means divide by 6. And we'll do the same thing with this 7. So when you see 5/7 h equals 20, and we know we want to move the 7, you have to practice that part. Because it's divided by 7, we'll multiply both sides by 7. The 7's, of course, will cancel. 5 and 8 will get pushed together. That just has to be off of muscle memory. And then 20 times 7 becoming 140 is what's left. This now should be the same as what you've seen, because make sure you understand what happened. Again, we multiplied by 7 to move it away, but the 5 ends up attached to the h because it was the only value left. On the other side, 20 times 7 led to 140, and we ended up with that portion there. So from there, it should be instinctual again. We now know that when the two values are attached, they are being multiplied. So we will divide both sides by 5 to finish the problem. So again, if it was 5h equals 140, that's 5 times 8. So we learned divide by 5, divide by 5. Dividing that gave us 28. So that's a two-step equation because it took 2 steps to complete it. That's what a two-step equation means. It means you're going to have to make 2 decisions. The problem with making 2 decisions is that there's a 50-50 chance that you can pick the wrong direction. And if you pick the wrong direction, you'll get it wrong. And that is why you have to make sure that you memorize this stuff as it says. It can be memorized as long as you practice and ask for help when you need it. What you don't want to do is just kind of randomly pick answers and then hope it works and then move on. You have to actually focus on trying to get it down. So let's work on one problem before moving to the other portion of our work real fast. So in this problem again, what value should be moved first? I'm not going to ask anymore who's connected. There's no reason for that. 7 and 3 are connected. But remember, we moved the bottom value first, so 3 should go first, and therefore 7 should go second. So how do you move the 3? If it's divided by 3, that means we should do times 3 here and times 3 there. The 3's go away, 7f comes down. 35 times 3, that'll be 90 plus 15, which I believe is 105. and then you divide by 7. So again, that's 7 times f. And so what you would do to get rid of times is by putting divided by 7 divided by 7. Just to show you your long division, 7 going into 105. 7 is not going to 1, but it does go into 10 once. 1 times 7 is 7. We subtract. 10 minus 7 is 3. Bring down to 5. 7 goes into 35 5 times. So f comes down with 15, and that should be all we have to do. So again, that is one of your two-step equations that you're going to be looking at. The other section of two-step equations comes from non-fraction problems. We're going to take it very slowly in terms of getting you acquainted with them, and only give you one type of problem to master today and then one type of problem to master tomorrow. Again, if you do not take advantage of the pace that we're giving you, and that's really a bad choice, because there's really not many teachers who are going to move at this pace in such a way that doesn't drive you crazy. So again, you have one day to learn how to deal with this type of problem. So if it's 12t plus 40 equals 88, what values are with t? You'll just say, well, 12 is with t and 40 is with t, because both of these, if you're looking at the equal sign, both of these are on the left side with t. So now there's two numbers with t. So what value should be moved first? You have to memorize that the weaker operation goes first, or the number that's furthest away from the variable goes first. So without counting 88, 12 is right next to it, 40 is being added, which means 40 is the weakest number. How would you move the 40? Go back to your instincts. This says plus 40. So how do you move plus 40? You would subtract 40. So you choose subtraction. What value should be moved second is what that says. Well, obviously the 12 should be moved second. And again, if you use your instincts, that's 12 times t, which means in order to move that 12, we would obviously divide. And that should be all you need to know. All right. So again, just make sure you've got that. I'm not going to be going over that in class, because again, we kind of did that last quarter. Just make sure you've got it understood. Even if that addition is on the other side, the same thing should happen. What values are with u? If u's on this side, it would be 5 and 16. What value should be moved first is the weaker operation. 5 is right next to u. 16 is being added. 16 is the weakest. Addition will always go, in solving, these will always go first. Or not always. They'll typically go first. We'll see something at the very end of the year. It's a little different. So how do you move this 16? If it's plus 16, we should subtract. What value should be moved second? Obviously would be the other number, which is the 5. And how do you move it if it's 5 times u? That would be by division. And there you go. So that's one type of question you're going to see on your homework to make sure you understand the strategy. But the other type is this one, where you have to actually work it out. So it's a similar thing. You just got to make sure you actually solve it. So it says what values are with g, so you've got to be able to recognize that 6 and 28 are both with g. The value that should be moved first in this case is going to be the one that is added. The value that should be moved second is the value that's right next to it. So when you go to solve that, if 28 must go first, how do you move the 28? If it's plus 28, that would be by subtracting 28. 6g comes down. That's the part you have to be careful of. The whole thing comes down. 28 goes away. 58 minus 28 is 30. So now it's 6 times g equals 30. Well, obviously if it's 6 times g, we're going to move the 6 by dividing by 6. 6's go away. G comes down. 30 divided by 6 is 5. That's your answer. That's your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 boxes that you will notice below that problem. But that's what they are just having you do, is to work through it and make sure you're ready for that part. All right. Same thing on the other side. What values are with t? Should be 3 and 22. What value should go first? For right now, just remember this number that's being added on will go first. The value that should be going second is the value that's attached. So to solve it, how do we move this 22? We subtract 22 here. We subtract 22 over there. 46 minus 22. 6 minus 2 is 4. 4 minus 2 is 2. Remember that 3t comes down and 22 goes away. In the end, if this is 3 times t, we will divide by 3 on both sides. 24 divided by 3 is 8. 3's go away. T comes down. That is all you need. All right. Again, another one. We got 2 more of these to look at real quick. What values are with a would be 9 and 84. They're both on the right side. So So what should go first? Again, just make sure you're learning the added number should go first, the multiplied number should go second. Yes, it's very repetitive, but that's because I'm trying to build your muscle memory. Once you get your muscle memory, you don't even have to think about it anymore. So how do I move the 84? If it's plus 84, I will do minus 84 here and minus 84 there. You will then do, can't do 1 minus 4, so borrow from here. That's 11. 11 minus 4 is 7. Can't do 0 minus 8, borrow and change. That would be 10 minus 8, which is 27. 9a comes down. 84 is gone. There's my problem. If this is 9 times a, then what I have to do is divide by 9 and divide by 9. 27 divided by 9 is 3. A comes down. There is your answer. That's the key idea for you to remember. Again, you don't have to do this part without a calculator, but I want you to see it because you need to understand that that is within your reach. If you're having issues even doing long division or long subtraction, let me know. Like I said, I can give you I can find a video for you to learn it, but you have to actually express the concern to want to learn something, because in my years of doing this, my 20 years of doing this, I've learned that when you don't want to learn it, it doesn't matter what I do. It's up to you. So what values are with t would be 7 and 74. What value should be moved first would be the added number first, remember, which is 74. The second value should be the 7. So with that being said, 7t plus 74, I need to move the added number, which is 74, by subtracting 74. 7t comes down, 74 goes away. To do this subtraction, again, we start from the back. 8 minus 4 is 4. Can't do 5 minus 7, so we borrow, making this 15. 15 minus 7 is 8. So now this is 7 times t. So again, what we do is divide by 7. Divide by 7. This is bigger than what I'm used to, so I'm going to put this in a division problem. 7 goes into 8 one time. 1 times 7 is 7. Remember, we subtract. 8 minus 7 is 1. Bring down the next number. 7 goes into 14 twice. This is a 12 that we end up with in this problem. So my presentation seemed like more than it actually is, mostly because two-step equations require more space. Just be sure to focus more on the sequence of steps. In fractions, we should be moving the bottom value or the denominator first. In other problems, we should be moving the added value first. Again, this should be practiced until it becomes a natural step for you to take. Just make sure you're understanding this needs to become a process that is natural to you. If you are still having to think about what you're supposed to do before you take this test, you're going to set yourself up for having an average test, which doesn't really set you up into a good spot like I think you can be. So just make sure you ask questions when you need to. When you do, make sure you show me a picture of what you did so I can try to help you out. And outside of that, good luck. I'll talk to you later.